Oh, it's you, Gemini. Hi. Hey, welcome. This is you, Gemini. This is Tarot Lumination here with your singles mini love and relationship report for the late October, early November season. Okay, we're just going to keep doing that. Every month we're just going to do this playlist for you guys because a lot of you are asking for singles reports. So we're doing it. All right. Now, you know the drill. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising. Put it all together. Reinterpret. Write your own story. Okay? So, also, what I would invite you to do is to stop, start, and pause the video as needed in order to integrate these questions into the reading itself, because we're just going to buzz through this thing, okay? Cards are already well shuffled in advance, but we go to the last moment so that you're a witness. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. No, the cards just tell us a story, okay? And here we go. Okay, this one's for you, Gemini, all right? I hope you're having an awesome season. We're going to make the best of this totally for you. All right. And we're going to do that. And then that. And then that. So this would be your love energy, or you, and or even who you are. This would be like, who would you attract? What if you attracted someone right now? Who would they be? What would they be like? Okay? And what would be the nature of the relationship itself? Because you already know, Gemini, that with Tarot Illumination, it's about the relationship. Okay? There's you, there's the other, and there's the relationship itself, which has its own identity and structure. Okay? And on a healthy relationship, you live through the relationship. Okay, but what are the prospects here? How would that all work out going forward? What's the momentum? Okay. Also, we're going to look at this card in a moment. It's what I think of as a circumstantial energy, like to call it the weather. And you, Gemini, you just make the best of it. Okay. The weather is not going to own you, no matter how rough it is. And it's not going to like influence you to think that everything's greater than it is just because the weather might be really awesome. You're going to read the weather as it is and make the best of it, okay? And fully understand it. So what have we got for you? We've got the moon. So it might be, Gemini, that you're going through a period right now, for this time period, where it could be very disorienting for you. It could require you to lean very heavily on your instincts and your intuition in ways that you probably would not normally like to do. So, also with the moon, it can feel like you're getting hazed, you know? Sometimes with the moon card, it means like you're being prompted, let's just say prompted by the fates to, let's say, get on a tightrope and cross from this skyscraper to this skyscraper in the nighttime without a balancing arm. You know, I know it's absolutely crazy, but that's kind of what this card would feel like if you let it get the grip of you in terms of the fear and the shadows of the night. However, you're not going to let that happen. You're going to understand that there is safe passage ahead for you. It just might be a little spooky and weird because, monsters jumping out in the middle of the night and going places where you might not even have a compass, where the only thing that you can trust is your intuition. So, make the best of it. Make the best of it anyway. Don't be spooked by it. Treat it as an amazing opportunity to really tune into your intuition and subconscious like never before, especially when it comes to matters of love for you as a single. What would you be radiating now? Okay, so maybe you already, let's just say, come through something that leaves you feeling very dazed and hazed. Okay, so this is a card of misery, of grief, of sadness, of sorrow. And if you're radiating that energy right now, I'm happy for you because it's good to get it out of you. If you were deeply broken and sorrowful inside with matters of the heart, but this was not being expressed, that would be a problem. But right now, if you're feeling kind of scared, disoriented, frightened by matters of the heart because of perhaps your previous history, perhaps some damage, perhaps getting dumped, or perhaps having to dump somebody. Somebody where there might have been a tremendous amount of love. And that's all consuming right now. The grief and the sorrow of potential loss could be so consuming that that's the energy that you're radiating, you know. But of course, you already know, Gemini, that there's always the two of cups here waiting for you when you come out of this. It just may not be for a while yet, okay? So, given that you might feel very hazed and disoriented and perhaps consumed by grief right now, I don't know what's that's going to attract to you, but we're going to find out. Wow, wow, you're lucky. You're lucky, Gemini. You might attract someone who's really good for you, and perhaps maybe not so much in terms of a love relationship in the way that you might want, full of romance and love and that kind of thing, but maybe someone who you really need right now, who's actually very stabilizing for you, who really means well, perhaps in a way that you've never enjoyed before. This could be the energy of someone who's very down to earth, stable, responsible. You know where you stand with this person because they do things in a way that's very genuine, honest, true, and built for the long term because their traditional nature is to invest and invest and invest and do the work and step away from conflicts and drama and focus on what really works, the really good, solid things in life, like investing in a healthy relationship and putting down roots and nurturing and maintaining the relationship over the long term. So this is potentially someone very, very good for you, Gemini, perhaps in a time of deep need. So, you know, who can say why? Perhaps they have something very valuable to offer you in terms of healing and stabilization during this period right now that you're having to live through, Gemini, okay? So, you know, maybe it's not the most obvious, let's say, embodiment of a romantic person or a romantic interest, but it certainly would be someone who's really good for you, okay? So, you know, put these two together and let's just say you decide to accept. Let's say in your potential state of like grief here and the understanding that you're still disoriented from that, you decide to accept their goodwill, their benevolence, their kindness, their caring, their day-to-day nurture, just that them being there for you in a way that counts. Like, what can I do for you? Oh, okay, sure. Well, let me take care of that. Don't you worry. I got all my stuff to take care of, but I'll bring pizza home tonight, okay? And that could be interesting. You know, we'd go from there. And then the next night it'll be like, how are you feeling today? And then they say, okay, I just took care of everything today like I had to, just to take care of business. So what do you need now? And then you kind of go like, gosh, I'd love with a foot rub or a shoulder rub or a massage. And they kind of go, fantastic. And that's just what I was thinking myself, because it makes me feel good to do that. So, you know, how does that translate into a relationship? So you might not be used to being treated this way or appreciated or relating this way, but it's very good. So what would that mean? Gemini, this could be really good news for you. Okay, you might be uh, in a very sorry state right now, but when this potential person shows up, it could actually be really good news for you about having a chance to start all over again, where you don't have to live through this, okay, or this. So now you have to understand with the Knight of Pentacles here and Pentacles in general, we're talking about long-term, solid type of energy. So even though this is just a short-term reading for a short-term period, it might be one of those readings that extend for considerable time, for a few months, even before someone like this maybe shows up, or even before the relationship starts to appear to be a situation of golden opportunity to start from scratch, where you, Gemini, don't have to be this way anymore. And you don't have to be scared anymore. You don't have to be wobbly and disoriented and feeling like you're getting, hazed or spooked or freaked out by relationships in general, or by one in particular that left you very broken and sad. Instead, you have an opportunity now to relate with someone in a way that is very different, in a way that's very solid, safe, and reliable for the long term. And it's done through evidence. It's done through love is as love does. It's on the understanding that love is like a force. It's like an energy in action, and it just sits there. It's always there waiting for you until you decide what are you going to do with it. So let's just say this Knight of Pentacles shows up, and they decide to invest in you and the relationship, and you very generously accept, because it's very, very important with these cards of, let's say, divine opportunity, to accept the good fortune when it arrives. So let's just say you figure out, okay, let's just do that, and it starts to work for you. What can happen is you can start on a new pathway to build a relationship that is has all the classical ingredients of going for the long term and being really solid and reliable, but it's a very brand new way of being for you. And it takes you away from this, okay, from all of this. So, wow, I'm actually kind of happy for you, Gemini. But imagine, now, remember, this would play out over a significant period of time. So you only might just get very tiny inklings of the opportunity that's happening here, because you're probably not going to just snap out of this instantly just because there might be someone who shows up. It can take a long time to heal grief, and it can take a long time to start a significant new relationship again. But those things can happen together, okay? Because it looks like you might be attracting someone who has the ability to handle you as you go through your grief, and also be there for you in a solid long-term potential relationship. What is the momentum here? We're getting a bit carried away with the good stuff. Let's have a look. Okay, so my feeling is that, remember, this is your reading for you, Gemini, about a relationship prospect here, relationship situation. Let's just forget that for the moment. So where would this momentum go here in the relationship? It would, with the Eight of Cups here, it could be like starting again on the understanding that you have to leave behind something that you might have dearly loved. For example, here with the Five of Cups, this grief might be to do with someone who was dearly loved by you, and they dearly loved you, and yet it came to an end, and there was tremendous grief and sorrow and loss. And now the reality is that in order to move on and take the full opportunity of what's happening here with a potential new mate and seeing the foundations of a new relationship, it would mean having to let go of all the love energy, the sentiment, let's say the grief and the sorrow that you might have carried for a long time. But that's okay. It's okay to do that. Relationships can stop and start. Some endure for lifetimes, some endure forever, some have a short lifespan. But this looks like you might have had a relationship that went on for some time, and it already lived its course. It was already full of love, and you lived through the whole, let's say, storyline of that relationship, and it is officially over. And it's okay to move on and let it go, even though there might have been a lot of love there that was shared between yourself and a significant other in the past. But now you have the potential to move on and operate in relationships at a higher standard than you might have ever done before, okay? And it's a really good opportunity for you to do that. You see, with the moon here and the moon here, it might mean that you might not have ever been aware that it's possible to have a relationship of this kind at all before, because typically with a Gemini, you would work from, you know, like the mind, the communications aspects, in as much capacity as you could for love and heart energy. But you would discover here that love is as love does, in that it can take you to a newer, higher level of understanding love, where love is the willing decision to go beyond your existing comfort zone and pain zones in order to nurture and foster the spiritual growth, advancement, and healing of yourself and a significant other. In other words, love is as love does. You're tapping in to that energy that's around all the time, but you're doing something with it by decisions and turning it into action, something concrete that is tangible. But it means having to like mature and grow up and leave behind whatever was painful and sorrow. And then as you mature and advance on your like spiritual path, you understand like what really, really counts in a relationship for the long term. It isn't all just about romance. It's about investing and evidence of love between yourself and another. Okay? So this is all potential. It's just what if. Okay? So I'm going to leave this here and you can reinterpret however you want. Told you all about the other stuff. Stop, start, pause as needed. Watch for sun, moon, and rising as needed. Reinterpret as needed. All the best, Gemini. Thank you so, so much for visiting. Bye-bye.